What if the scraps and screw-ups of our careers is where the real seeds of possibility lie? We offer up the muddy mess to showcase that nothing is wasted, every experience counts, and creates the conditions for new life and growth.
The scraps, the leftovers, the discarded stuff, its richness is the fertile soil for new life to take root.
Here's psychedelic chaplain Molly Baskette's contribution to the shit pile.
My church burned down. The church I'm at now in Berkeley, soon after I got there, a significant part of the campus. And that has really marked a lot of my tenures, just helping the church grieve and move on from that and figure out what to do in the aftermath. We're actually moving into our new building finally next week.
Awesome.
But it's really great. Along the way, that trauma, that tragedy, that grist for the mill engendered important conversations about our wealth, our resources as a church. You know, we're right in downtown Berkeley. Bay Area has a terrible housing crisis. The homelessness problem is completely immoral, untenable. And so we had a number of important conversations about whether or not to add affordable housing to our rebuild. Long story short, we are, but it created a painful church conflict. And as often happens to clergy, I became the lightning rod for that conflict. It wasn't really just about the fire or affordable housing or turf or, class division. Church is a place where people displace their anxiety from their families and elsewhere in life because it's the safe place, or they think it's a safe place. And so that was something we had to work through. But unfortunately, at the time that conflict was happening, a lot of things were going really wrong in my family. Both of my kids were very depressed after our move. A couple people very close to me, who I won't name, but very close, were in their own suicidal struggles. And my brother was murdered. And this all came to a head really in a very short time, and right around the time of a meeting where two older white guys vilified me publicly, and no one said a word in this public meeting. And what I understand now was simple, trauma response: fight, flight, fawn, freeze. Everyone froze. At the time, felt like they don't see me, they don't care about me, they don't see that I have my own suffering. And, I cried for half an hour on the church lawn after that, ugly cried the whole way home. And my poor traumatized 11-year-old at the time was like, Mom, preachers can see too much. But a few years later, as I was writing the book and reflecting on that chapter, I could, I could take names and kick ass. I could name names. Anne Lamott said, if you don't want me to write about you like that, you should have behaved better. Little Schadenfreude. Truth was, I really had to own my own complicity and what allowed that to transpire. What the heck was I doing in a church meeting like that I knew might go south 6 days after my brother was murdered, when I needed to attend to my family's grief and my own grief. And that's the Enneagram 3, right? That charge ahead, we're going to get this shit done. So we got there in the end. So a few folks left the church. We didn't make them leave. We discerned our path forward communally, collectively, the right path for us as a community. This vision that was commonly held, not Molly's vision, or Molly and a few brave souls, or reckless souls. I don't know how you want to describe me. I could be brave and reckless. We got there together. A few people left, and we did a lot of healing of our own in the meantime. We had some really significant conversations that revealed what our wounds really were, personally, interpersonally, and collectively. And we learned how to behave better as a community. And that wouldn't have happened if things hadn't blown up. And it wouldn't have happened if I left. It might have happened. I shouldn't say it wouldn't have happened. We don't know what would have happened. But one of my virtues / vices is that I tend to stick around. Even if I'm taking a beating, I want to see it through. I'm too stubborn to leave. And also I had kids, and we had moved here for this job, and I didn't know if I'd get another job. So we all saw through, the church and my family and me.
Molly, I see so much authenticity and courage and a little recklessness in you. And I have the joy of knowing you as a friend as well.
Yes.
And just knowing that you are somebody that is so full of integrity. Who you are is consistent. And I love that about you. I'm curious about, as someone who's been a visible leader of so many people, how have you dealt with external criticism and also internal doubt? And I'm even thinking about it in this moving on to act 2, as you call it, of becoming a psychedelic chaplain. Like, I'm sure people have thoughts on that, right? And just how have you harnessed your courage and your authenticity to move into places where you really feel called and in alignment with your values, even when others around you might not be in agreement with you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. I always listen to criticism for what it has to teach me, even if I feel like the critic is biased or there's a lot of projection happening. There's a lot of displacement of anger, anxiety from somewhere else. Just because it's coming from someone who's troubled doesn't mean there's no truth to it. So I have to do my own work, right? And that's for my benefit as well as the benefit of everyone I work with or interact with. Because I'm deeply aware of, both as a pastor and as a future psychedelic guide, current trainee, how much authority I have and how I need to hold that authority with great reverence for the people I'm with. So that keeps me open to criticism when I might want to clam up, snap shut. How dare you? Don't you know who I am? Don't you know what I've done? I think there's a difference between healthy self-criticism and overwhelming self-doubt. And I feel like even in my years when I was getting bullied, maybe not, you forget the pain. It's like the pain of labor. But I've always had this kind of plumb line. I like to say I don't have great self-esteem, but I have great God esteem. Like, I really know that God loves me. I really believe that. And so when the ego is starting to get sweaty and crazy and spin things up, I can usually tap into that God esteem. Like, no, shush. Remember how beloved I am and what I'm called to do. And because I'm called to do it, even if there are setbacks or I screw up and I humiliate myself, I can go again. Because I really know this is what I'm meant to do. I've known it for decades in ministry. And it's the same now with psychedelic therapy or chaplaincy. It's so what I'm meant to do. I'm so alive in this. And I have also been blessed to be really affirmed in it. And I think that is the virtuous cycle too. When you're really attuned within and without, looking for good teachers, willing to take correction, both have beginner's mind and also trust that you have some skills. You've been doing stuff. You've been here for a while, that's the synergy.
That's neat that it's affirming and enlivening and also humbling.
So humbling. Yeah.
This has been another bonus shitpile episode of A Life Worth Working, where we showcase how even the messiest of moments can lead to remarkable futures.
For more about Molly Baskette's journey, please make sure you listen to her full interview on A Life Worth Working. And please make sure to subscribe to our podcast so you can feel less alone in what can sometimes feel like the winding spaghetti paths of your career journey.